trans women should be legally treated as women. Tell me why you're strongly disagreeing.
Because I'm a molecular geneticist.
Bars.
Well, I'm not even sure. Everybody else is clapping. Okay, so tell me what that, because I count on my fingers. I know nothing about genes.
Being male or being female is a developmental process. You can't go backwards.
Okay.
So you can't change your sex. Like, you cannot do that. And the truth is that currently in California prisons in other parts of the country, women are getting impregnated by other women. You cannot house female prisoners with male prisoners because they get raped. And that's happening today.
So I just want to make sure I'm clear about this. So your argument is because you have domain-specific expertise as a molecular geneticist, and then the legal component of that is you're grounding that in your experience of what a man is and what a woman is.
Yeah. I'm sorry, this bothers me so much.
Well, that's why we're talking about it.
I know, my heart pounds, and I go to the women's changing room at my gym, and there's a dude in there, he's putting on makeup and hoop earrings. And this is not something a woman does when she goes to work out.
We'll put a face of makeup on to go work out and you about to sweat. That's fucking weird. But all right.
So that's the behavior is not common in women's rooms?
No, nor do women beat each other to death, but men do. There's a reason why they don't want to be in men's prisons, because men beat each other to death. Women don't do that.
That is a very valid point. 90% of violent crimes are committed by men. The most violent of criminals in the world are men, and that's just magnified in prison. Doesn't equate female to women's prison. So if you sit here and put a goddamn biological woman in a male prison, the likelihood of that woman getting fucked up shoots through the fucking roof. Assaulted, murdered, raped, all of that.
Were you convinced by anything she said about putting men in women's prisons?
I have a rebuttal.
Please.
With all respect too, because I'm an aspiring molecular geneticist. I want to say that your argument is really geared towards men identifying as women. But what about the other way around? Women identifying as men.
Women identifying as men. So you put a woman in the male prison. I think that's an example I just gave too, right? But yeah, you put a biological woman in the male prison, they don't stand a chance. I don't give a fuck how manly your ass is. You got some fallopian tubes and a uterus in there.
So you're asking her if she has a problem with women going into men's prisons.
Yeah, or men's changing rooms, going to gyms.
Yeah, same concept. Like, I don't understand that.
Women cannot force a pregnancy on a man.
You buying that? You are? Okay, so what would it take you to move from agree to slightly agree? Like, what argument would you have to hear? What piece of evidence would you have to hear to move one line?
I mean, I want to know specifically why legally it matters. I mean, I consider myself like pretty open-minded when it comes to these things, so I guess I would move over slightly agree. I just personally feel like in my heart that it doesn't matter legally who someone or what gender someone is.
Is it better to make that decision?
But why wouldn't it matter though? If you got damn women getting raped by biological men in the prison, like the whole argument shouldn't matter legally. When it comes down to people's safety and forcing others to abide by your own perspective, forcing other people to live in your world, like that's limiting freedoms and limiting movement.
I just personally feel like in my heart that it doesn't matter legally who someone or what gender someone is.
Is it better to make that decision in your heart or in your head? Is it better to make that decision on the
both.
basis of the way you feel or on the basis of argument?
Argument.
But I think having empathy for other people is also important.
And there are
Fuck that.
reasons to have empathy.
Yes.
And do the reasons to have empathy, because you can have empathy about the wrong things, right?
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that our reasons track our emotions in the right way, right?
Hmm.
So what would it take you to move to the slightly agree?
A really good case study, a really good, solid.
That says what?
That the women are getting raped by men. It's a good case study. The amount of times women have been thrashed in competitive sports. It's a good case study. There's plenty of that shit out there, just people refuse to look at it.
And that says legally it's black and white, and
What's the it in that sentence? What?
are transgender women actually legally women, that it has to be one way or the other.
But that wouldn't be a case study, that would be an opinion piece.
Well, an example showing that that must be true, that transgender women have to be considered males. Or
But that would just be a legal opinion, though, as opposed to a case study. Oh, you mean like if you got a bunch of judges and lawyers who agreed?
I guess yeah, I suppose.
But couldn't they agree just because they've bought into a dominant cultural value as opposed to something that's true?
This might be offensive.
Impossible. You're talking to me.
How do you know that this, like the other side, isn't based on cultural norms and based on a legacy
Oh, it is.
history of,
It totally is.
yeah.
But I would say the answer to
Ours
that
is
question
rooted in
is
truth.
who's willing to revise their beliefs
And I think it's a person by person basis.
on the basis of what? Reason, evidence, or emotion, or some combination thereof.
Some combination.
Okay, so you would be willing to move to the slightly agree if you heard a case study of judges and lawyers. You'd be willing to move, but absent that, you're not going to move.
For now, yeah.
Okay.
Damn. Cause she doesn't come across as like a raging, radical, liberal, you know what I'm saying? Like the nutsos. Like she's just I guess your typical Gen Zer, man. She's not coming there trying to force her way of thinking on anybody. She really looks at life that way. And she sounds educated as hell, soft-spoken, sweet and all that, man. But the reality is so warped, bro. Like, you sitting here questioning if trans women are really women. You can't just use your common sense to know that they're not the same at all. That's just a reflection of society. That's how deep this problem is, man. It's not going on. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. This shit is never going to be fucking fixed. It's going to be us versus them.
Anytime. Is anything anybody has said moved you to strongly disagree or to slightly disagree? Or are you still going to be on your line? It's 100% fine if you are, but
I'm pretty good here.
are you confident that this is the right line?
Sure. I mean, like I said, there's these pretty clear cases where the distinction really matters. And then there's these other situations where I think most people, it doesn't hurt anybody.
What evidence would it take for you to go to one step to the right or one step to the left? What would you have to know that you don't know now?
That someone would get hurt if someone's driver's license, for example, was changed. If there was evidence that there's harm would come of that, I would move to.
What, if anything, would cause you to move to the disagree? And is there anything you heard here tonight that would convince you
She ain't
to
moving nowhere,
move
bro.
one line over? It's okay to say no. I'm just trying to figure this out.
No, I have figured it out.
And you're confident.
I am as confident as I am that this is my hand in front of my face instead of yours. There is absolutely, this is the most insane thing that has ever happened to me in my life, that women are a feeling now. And that, as
You could feel it. You could feel it. You could feel the pain coming from those words out of her mouth, dog. That women are just a feeling, bro. And then we ain't got to deal with that shit. Fellas ain't got to deal with that shit, bro, because women ain't coming into our spaces and demolishing us in sports and making us feel unsafe and raping dudes in prison. It don't happen that way because we're fucking men. Women are literally getting their identity taken away, and you got these stupid ass women out here just giving it up. Just giving it up. It's all right. Take what it is to be a woman, but make you feel better.
as for the driver's license thing, if a man who has transitioned, has F on his driver's license, and then he gets arrested, they're going to put him in a cell with women.
Boom.
And his hands are stronger, his body is stronger, and he can beat that woman to death.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, that's
Wow.
She ain't
Wow.
playing.
Now we need
She
you.
ain't playing. That's
Wow.
all facts,
Wow,
though.
hold on. You can come next.
That's
Wow.
all facts, though.
So what you're saying is a good case for why we should maybe have a category that specifically says trans woman, not
Facts.
just female suddenly.
You moved. Okay, I'm going to do another, but I want to go say that. So, does her example, is that sufficient to decrease your confidence and agree? It's okay if it's not. I'm just trying to figure out.
I feel like everyone hates me.
No, but just I don't do. Hurry. No, nobody hates
so
you.
sorry.
No, don't be sorry. We're just trying to figure out we're just trying to figure stuff out here.
So my counter argument to that is there is always this danger where men could beat up women, and even as a woman myself, I could easily be walking down the street and get, assaulted or attacked, right? And
That's not the same thing at all, though. It's not even the same stratosphere. A woman walking alone down an alley compared to a woman being in a male prison. Like they're not even in the same. That's not even the same galaxy. It's surprising as hell, bro. Because this looks like a very intelligent college student here, bro. And she's that goddamn deluded that it flaws her logic.
And just because something changes and it's not what we're used to, you could easily see the negatives. For instance, women going to school at UC Berkeley, right? That wasn't always a thing. And in fact, in the physics building here, the women's bathroom isn't even adjacent to the classroom because previously they weren't allowed to go here. You could easily make an argument that when women started coming to school and getting higher education, that men wouldn't have been accepting of them. And
We're comparing men not being accepting of women in public spaces compared to women being in jail. And she used the term accepting, right? When women were being treated as second-class citizens, pretty much, they didn't have the freedoms, right? But that's not even the same stratosphere. It's not in the same universe of problems. You're talking about just fair treatment, equality compared to safety. Prison is literally one of the most dangerous places someone can be. So one of the most dangerous places you can put people. Put a bunch of criminals together in a building for long periods of time, and you're going to introduce a biological female with men that don't have any access to punani at all. But we're doing this for equality and fairness. Bitch, what? Women weren't always allowed in schools, and we're accepting of them now, so why can't trans women be placed in prisons with men? Like, there's no... Ooh, bruh, yeah, that's crazy.